Have you ever wondered what really goes on behind the scenes at airport security? You take off your shoes, empty your pockets, and step through the scanner, trusting that everything is under control. But what if I told you the system isn't as secure as it seems? Here are 10 shocking airport security secrets they don't want you to know. And once you hear them, you might never look at flying the same way again. Let's dive in. 1. Scanners miss more than you think. Airport scanners might look high-tech, almost futuristic. You step inside, raise your arms, and assume the machine can see everything. But in reality, these scanners have serious blind spots. Full-body scanners use millimeter wave technology which can't always detect items hidden in certain areas, like under skin folds, inside medical implants, or even within body cavities. That's why smugglers sometimes resort to extreme hiding methods. Even worse, the material of the object matters. Thin plastics, powders, liquids in cleverly disguised containers, and even some 3D printed weapons can pass through unnoticed. 2. Security uses undercover agents to test itself. You might think undercover agents at airports are hunting for suspicious people, but sometimes they are the suspicious person, and they do it on purpose. These agents are known as red teams, and their job is to do something that sounds unthinkable: sneak fake weapons, explosives, or banned items through airport security. The reason? To test whether the system can actually catch a real threat. Red teams are highly trained and often made up of former military or intelligence personnel. To carry out their missions, they use the same tactics that real smugglers or attackers might rely on. That includes using disguises, distraction techniques, and cleverly designed hiding places to conceal fake weapons. 3. Some pilots are armed. This one surprises a lot of people. Yes, some commercial airline pilots are actually armed with a firearm while flying. In the United States, under a program called the Federal Flight Deck Officer, or FFDO, select pilots are authorized to carry a gun in the cockpit as a defensive measure. The program was introduced after the 9/11 attacks to provide flight crews with a last line of protection in case someone tries to breach the cockpit. But not just anyone qualifies. Pilots must volunteer for the program, pass a thorough background check, and complete a rigorous federal training course. During flights, the firearm is kept in a secure locked container and is only accessible under extreme circumstances. These armed pilots are not law enforcement officers, and they're not permitted to leave the cockpit to handle incidents in the passenger cabin. 4. Random checks aren't really random. Ever been pulled aside for a so-called random security check? Well, chances are it wasn't random at all. Behind the scenes, many airports use advanced profiling systems that analyze a range of data before you even arrive at the terminal. These systems look at how and when you booked your ticket, whether you paid in cash, if it's a one-way trip, or if your travel route fits the pattern of known smuggling paths. Even your nationality, frequent flyer status, and whether you checked a bag can influence your risk score. On top of that, trained security staff monitor real-time behavior in the queue. Things like nervous body language, lack of eye contact, excessive sweating, or even avoiding casual conversation with staff. 5. Confiscated items are sold for profit. Ever wonder what happens to that expensive cologne, pocket knife, or multi-tool you forgot was in your carry-on? Contrary to what many people think, those items usually aren't destroyed. Instead, in many countries they're collected, sorted, and resold for profit. Some are auctioned off in bulk to the public, while others end up in government-run surplus stores or are sold through third-party resellers. For the governments, it's a way to recover costs from enforcing security regulations. 6. Security pays attention to how you smell. Security is watching you, and yes, they're also smelling you. This might sound strange, but scent plays a bigger role in airport screening than most people realize. Agents are trained to pick up on unusual or strong odors. For example, passengers under stress often sweat more, and when that natural scent mixes with deodorant or cologne, it can create a noticeably odd smell. The smell of burnt chemicals may indicate recent contact with explosives, while a sweet, fruity odor could be a sign of drugs like ketamine or ecstasy. Even the use of overly strong perfume or air fresheners in luggage can raise suspicion, because it might be intended to mask something else. 7. There are blind spots in camera coverage. With all those security cameras hanging from ceilings and walls, you'd think the entire airport is under constant surveillance, right? Not quite. While most major airports have hundreds or even thousands of cameras monitoring activity, there are still blind spots. These are areas that, for various reasons, fall outside the view of any active camera. Some blind spots exist because of budget constraints, where older parts of an airport haven't been upgraded with modern equipment. Others are the result of outdated infrastructure, and in some cases, certain areas are intentionally left unwatched for privacy reasons, like bathrooms. Airports try to compensate for these gaps by increasing physical patrols, but the truth remains simple: not every corner is being watched. 8. Hidden codes and public announcements. Paging Mr. Black. Mr. Black, please pick up the white courtesy phone. Sounds innocent, right? But that simple announcement might be hiding something serious. Many airports around the world use coded public messages to alert staff about emergencies or potential threats without causing panic among travelers. These announcements are deliberately vague to the public but very clear to trained personnel. Depending on the airport, a name or phrase might signal anything from a fire alarm to a medical emergency or even a bomb threat. These systems are part of what's called non-disruptive emergency communication, designed to trigger a fast and organized response without causing fear or chaos. 9. Trained profilers are watching your every move. Forget facial recognition software for a moment. At some airports, security doesn't just rely on machines, it relies on people. These are trained behavioral profilers, individuals with backgrounds in psychology, security, or law enforcement, who specialize in observing human behavior to detect potential threats. They're not your average guards scanning passports. They are trained to pick up on subtle cues that even sophisticated AI might miss. Profilers look for micro-expressions, which are tiny, involuntary facial movements that can reveal what someone is really feeling, like fear, anger, or deception. 10. Not all dogs are sniffing for drugs. When you see a sniffer dog at the airport, it's easy to assume it's searching for drugs. But that's actually just one of many possibilities. Detection dogs are trained for a variety of tasks. Some focus on explosives, others on agricultural products like fruits or meat. And some are used to detect large amounts of undeclared cash. In some cases, the dog may not even be actively searching. It might simply be there as a deterrent, creating the impression of high security and making potential smugglers think twice. That effect alone can be enough to stop illegal activity before it even begins. Airport security is full of secrets, and now you know some of the biggest ones. From undercover agents testing the system to scent-based profiling and hidden codes and announcements, it's clear that what goes on behind the scenes is far more complex than most travelers ever realize. So the next time you're walking barefoot through security, juggling your laptop and a half-empty water bottle, just remember they're watching, smelling, and profiling more than you ever imagined, and they've been doing it long before you stepped into the terminal. If this blew your mind or gave you a new perspective on flying, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more insider content, and share this with someone who always gets randomly selected at the airport. Thanks for watching, and as always, safe travels.